What should you play in Classic WoW's Season of Discovery that launches tomorrow evening? So this is mostly going to be a new player guide. I just like waffling about WoW, especially on the build up to a release to a patch or an expansion. But eventually I will touch on the new roles like Rogue Tank and Warlock Tank, Shaman Tank and Mage Healer. And I'll talk a little bit about the ruins, but this is mainly for new players. So if you're experienced vet, it might be teaching you to suck eggs. So let's crack on. The first one I'm going to talk about is the Rogue, because that's the one I started on in the original WoW. I was an undead rogue and I just had the best time. But eventually I got bored of being so slow and some fights were difficult and I saw how OP hunters were. So eventually I leveled an Orc Hunter as well. And I kind of just bounced between the two. Those were like my core characters. So this time around, I want to try like the Ret Paladin, and the Shaman Tank seems cool. And then Rogue and Hunter will always have a special place in my heart. So they'll probably get a level at some point, but we'll see what happens. So if you're a new player or you're thinking about coming back to WoW after a long time, like the new cycle has got you hyped, which class should you play? If you find yourself asking that question like a lot of people do, let's just talk about the class fantasy and the feels and the vibe of each class. So for a rogue, you're in stealth, you've got dual wield, you like stabbing people with ambush and backstab, so positional play is very important. You've got a lot of crowd control tools, so you can get yourselves out of tricky situations. You can go in stealth, which is one of the biggest selling points for me. Like when I first started this game, well, this was back in like, God, 20 years ago. I was literally a tot. I was obsessed with dual wield. Like, I want to have a weapon in each hand, and rogues got that at level 10 compared to like warriors at level 20 and things like that. So immediately I was like, boom, I'm going to be a rogue because I want two swords instead of like a big two-hander. So after that, I was like, oh, they've got stealth. And then this whole like ambush backstab playstyle is really, really fun. The ruins they're going to get are mutilate, I've seen. So that'll be just insanely fun. You just do a dirty double backstab into them. And the blue icon, I've always really liked the blue icon. So I'm looking forward to trying that out. You've got a lot of stuns when it comes to rogue, but there's a new stun which lets you stun people at range. So rather than like kidney shot up close in melee range, you can now like do a between the eyes stun combo from a ranged distance. What's the range on it? 20-yard range. So it gives you more utility. It allows you to escape sticky situations easy. We've got envenom, so you can apply poisons to your daggers. That's a really satisfying playstyle. You come in stealth, stab them in the back for a ginormous crit. The poisons are ticking away on them. You can like stun them and run away. You can like apply a rupture to them, like a bleed, so you can kind of just walk away from them, taunting them while they're stuck all poisoned and bleeding. Like, really, really fun playstyle. Very hands-on. You have to be very interactive with a rogue. The faster you are at reacting to things, the better you'll do. And understanding your toolkit, it'll be vital. So, would I play rogue again? 100%. Really, really fun. Moving on to the hunter. What new things did the hunter get? So, we've got... Oh, let me just talk about the combat tank as well on the rogue. So, you can actually start tanking now with the rogue. And it's going to be like you go down the combat tree and you're going to be like an avoidance dodge tank. So, when you do get hit, you're going to take a lot of damage, but you're relying on dodging and parrying and a lot of attacks. So you're essentially a dodge tank or an avoidance tank. You keep aggro and you don't take damage, but when you do take damage, it really hurts. So once you start getting to like high level bosses and difficult fights, you could get one shot, and that's the problem. Let's talk about Hunter. So Hunter is now, in Season of Discovery, the only class that is like a pure DPS. So you can't be a tank and you can't be a healer on it. But they are adding a way for you to be like a melee hunter. So if you've been enjoying survival in retail, you can do like a melee hunter build with this. And it seems to be one of the only abilities which has got like an uncapped AoE or something like that. You'll be able to do an insane amount of damage in a big AoE pull as a melee hunter. So we'll have to play test and see what actually comes about with that. But something to look forward to if you really like that melee play style. Hunters in general are just like hunter and rogue were perfect combos for me, because sometimes I'm in the mood to be like a stealthy ninja that like sneaks up and picks my fights and has like a really cool 1v1, whereas the hunter is like, you're a sniper rifle, you've got range, you can kite people for days, you can summon a pet to fight for you. It's really satisfying. What else can I say about it? What are the new things that are coming for the hunter? So Carve is the ability, which is like the melee range AoE thing. Hunters are now getting explosive shot, chimera shot, flanking strike, kill command, aspect of the lion. So they're getting a lot of cool extra abilities. Like, even if they barely changed anything, I'd still probably play a hunter, because the hunter playstyle is so fun. You send your pet in, your pet can tank a few things. You can really get good with the pet management skills as well. Like, you can have your pet tanking multiple mobs. You can like kite with you and your pet. The play style you can have with a hunter is whatever you want it to be. So you can get really, really sweaty with it if you want. Like, your skill will come from like your pet micromanagement. So if you don't like managing pets, maybe it's not for you. But the range is really satisfying. Being able to use traps is really good. Like, you have great CC. You can just kite people forever. Like, let's say someone jumps on you. As long as you can like get away like 5 yards away from them, you'll just be able to kite them for days. You've got slows, you've got traps, you've got your pet. Really satisfying in PvP if you can pull it off. And then you've got the aim shot, dirty sniper rifle, 50 cal, like headshots across the map kind of vibe with a hunter. Anyway, it's getting long. I'm already 7 minutes in and I've barely said anything about the other classes. So Shaman is getting more and more interesting by the day. Like, especially being able to tank on the Shaman. I love the rock biter enchant and casting earth shock, and it just, Shaman has always felt like the one that was always supposed to be a tank in the first place. It was strange that it released as not a tank, or it wasn't that viable as a tank, because the talents kind of hinted at it, the abilities kind of hinted at it, but it never kind of came to fruition. Whereas now it's looking really, really fun to play. I can't wait to try it out, honestly. I think I'm just going to play all the new stuff. So Shaman tank, Warlock tank, Mage healer, and Rogue tank. But the Shaman runes that they're going to get is dual wield specialization, which is really cool. People are complaining that they've not really added much for two-handed spec, but you can still play two-handed. I mean, it won't really matter because you're not going to have Wind Fury. Like, enhancement is kind of an invisible spec to me until you get Wind Fury. Wind Fury is so iconic, but that might be just my opinion. So you can equip a shield, and equipping a shield will give you a lot of extra stats called Shield Mastery that'll just make you really good for tanking. You gain Overload, Healing Rain, Ancestral Guidance, Earth Shield, Way of Earth, Shamanistic Rage. That sounds really cool. Water Shield, Lava Burst, Lava Lash, Molten Blast. Like I say, the tank style is really, really interesting me. Like, let's move on to the Paladin, because Rep Paladins are also really interesting. I've never played a Paladin properly, but I've always wanted to. So maybe this is like my expansion or my patch where I finally actually do it. So they're adding Seal of Martyrdom, Divine Storm, Horn of Lordaeron, Aegis, Divine Sacrifice, Inspiration Exemplar, Avenger's Shield. Like, oh, yeah, I'm actually sold. But there's so many that are sounding so good. Like, I can't actually wait to do a little alt army. Avenger's Shield is just super fun. So Shamans are all Earth Elemental, controlling the elements, frost, fire, earth, like air. You can summon totems. You're quite beefy. You wear mail. You can have a shield. You can enchant your weapons. You can enchant your teammates. You're quite empowering in that way. Whereas the Paladin, you kind of work with light. You've got seals that bless you. Avenger's Shield, you like throw out this giant like bouncy ball of light shield that just is so satisfying, and it's a tankier, it's for the tanks as well, it slows things, it bounces around between different mobs, it's a great initiator, just such a fun ability. I've never I've literally never clicked Divine Storm, or well, key press Divine Storm, so I want to try that as well. Exorcist is an ability which will now crit against undead and demons, but you can just use it on anything, which is cool. Rebuke, Beacon of Light, Crusader Strike, awesome. Hand of Reckoning, I'm really looking forward to playing that, can't wait. What have we got left? So I think we've done like half, and it's 10 minutes in, so let's get a move on. The Mage Healer. So I actually spoke about this quite a lot in my other video, so go check out that. But essentially, the way you're going to heal people with the Mage is like, it's similar to the Disc Priest in retail WoW. So you apply a beacon to a teammate, so you'll heal them for a little bit. This will then put like a beacon on them, and then any damage you do after that to enemies, you'll deal like half damage, but then you'll also like heal your teammates by like 40% or something. And you can set this to like AoE as well, so you could do like an AoE regeneration spell and then do some like AoE damage, and it's going to heal your teammates. So the more damage you do, the more you heal. Really satisfying and really cool playstyle even. I really like the opening up these dungeon groups. Like, the faster we can make dungeon groups, the better. I want more viable options. This is like great. They get Fingers of Frost, Burnout, Enlightenment, Icy Veins, Arcane Surge, Living Flame, Rewind Time, which is if you heal someone with your beacon. Well, if someone's got the beacon on them, any damage they take over the last 5 seconds, you can just like bloop, reverse it. They've got Living Bomb, so your AoE is going to be absolutely insane. Arcane Blast and Ice Lance. So it's Ice Lance is perfect. Like, I'm really liking the things they've added. So mages are fire, ice, fire, frost, and arcane. So whichever one you vibe with the most, like all of these, you can just go with whatever you're feeling the most. They're all going to be good. Some are going to be better than some are going to be better than others, but play what's fun. Play what you're vibing with. So fire is very explosive, very crit based. Frost, you can do a lot of kiting. You can like AoE farm. Arcane is like big purple blasts of magical energy. I didn't talk about the different specs for Shaman, for all of them, to be honest, so I'll just spend 10 seconds on each one. Rogue has Assassination, so in the shadows, poisons, daggers, backstabby type things. Combat spec is like swords and maces or one-handed weapons, and that's where your rogue tanking is going to come in. You'll go down the combat tree, get your parry, get your dodge, and you can get something called Blade Fury or Blade Dance, which just makes you tankier. AoE's a bit, I think. And then you've got Subtlety, which is very... your stealth is improved, you work from the shadows, you're faster in stealth, things like that. So Assassination, you have to like position yourself behind your target. Subtlety gives you more freedom to like maneuver around, but it's very in the shadows type vibe. With the Shaman and the Paladin, you've got Enhancement for the Shaman, which is like melee-based elemental. You've got dual wield, two-handers, whatever you want to play. You cast like shocks. You enchant your weapons with special abilities. Elemental is like a ranged version of the Shaman. So you cast lightning bolts, you cast lava bursts, and then you've got the healing side of it, which is restoration. So you can do like healing rain. You can put like healing totems down. Really satisfying, really fun to play, really cool to have in your party. And then for the Paladin, you've got Retribution, which is your two-handed deliverer of justice, bonking enemies, doing insane damage, hurting people, delivering retribution. Then we've got Protection, which is sword and shield. You're very tanky, very good at holding aggro in like AoE situations. You're great for AoE farming. So if you like pulling an entire dungeon and then like blasting them all with like light damage, consecrating the ground underneath you, and just keeping yourself alive, you can do a lot of clutch plays with your teammates as well. Like you can bubble. You apply these immunity bubbles to yourself, and there's like a meme where when you're in a tricky situation, you can bubble yourself, which makes you immune to everything, and then you can just Hearthstone out of there. So if you want to be part of the meme, like, go for that. And then you've got the healing side of it as well, which is Paladin, sword and shield in a dress. You heal people with light abilities. Really fun playstyle. All of it's really good. The Paladin's very dynamic. Same with the Druid. So we've now got 3 characters that can tank, DPS, and heal. That's the Shaman, the Druid, and the Paladin. And the Druid can even do ranged as well. So they're really the most versatile class. But Paladins are getting there now. Well, since we're on to the Druids, let's talk about Druids. So when I first started reading like the back of the box, the gamer manual, when it took like 2 days for this game to actually install, I was diving into the manual, and the thing that caught my interest the most was the Druid, because it can transform into animals, like it can shapeshift. I was just obsessed with that. And when you watch the WoW Classic cinematic and you see like the night elf turning into the panther, running through the forest, like it was such a cool class fantasy that I was sold. And then when I saw you could be like giant cows, like I want to be a tauren, I want to be a minotaur, and I went Druid. But then unfortunately I didn't have the patience, like casting wrath at turkeys and ostriches in the tauren starter zone wasn't delivering the class fantasy I was expecting. But if I stayed till level 10, level 20 and actually got the things that transform me into a bear and into a cat, it would have been a lot better. But I never got that far, and that's when I was like, you know what, I'm playing an undead rogue, and then I played an orc hunter. So that's my backstory. So you can transform into a bear and a cat and a travel form and a walrus, and it just keeps getting better. So really cool. Like, it's just a dead satisfying class fantasy. Some of the new ruins they're getting are Living Seed, Wild Strikes, Fury of Storm Rage, Survival of the Fittest, Star Surge, Life Bloom, Skull Bash, Savage Roar, Sunfire, Lacerate, Wild Growth, Mangle. So you've got a couple of playstyles when it comes to Druid. A lot of the times you're going to be like shifting in and out of your forms. Like when you're doing like all the different types of content, like you can bounce between like travel form. Then if you want to tank a dungeon, you can go into bear form. Then if you want to like take down an ostrich, you can go into cat form. It's just a really satisfying like shapeshifting dance class. So you've got a couple of specs you can go down. I might butcher this. I might be using like retail terms, or I can't remember the old stuff, but essentially you've got like Guardian, which is your tank. So you sit in bear form and you're OP. I think it's just Feral, Resto, and Balance in WoW Classic, but I don't know if they've changed it. In retail, it's a bit different now. It's like Balance, Guardian, Resto, and Feral. So I can't remember what the actual Season of Discovery is going to be, but essentially you've got a spec that focuses on the cat, where you're doing like melee combat, you can go into stealth, you apply bleeds, you crit people from behind type stuff. Then you've got the bear, which is like a tank, so Guardian. Then you've got the Resto Druid, which is very green. You put like healing dots on people. Well, HOTS they're called. You've got Wild Growth, you've got Life Bloom. You're very mobile. You've got a lot of like team utility. You can cast Sunfire and Moonfire. Those are really cool looking abilities. And then you've got Balance, which focuses on like the ranged damage spell casting. So spamming Wrath, Sunfire, Starfire, Star Surge, whatever it's called, things like that. So I've never played a Druid properly, but when I first got into WoW, like I say, it was the class that piqued my interest the most, but it just didn't deliver in the first couple of levels, so I didn't last very long. What have we got left? Warlock is a worthy mention. I love the Warlock. So you've got 3 specs to choose from: Destruction, Demonology, and Affliction. So Demonology is where the new tanky stuff is going to be, and how it's going to work is essentially you press Metamorphosis and you turn into like a demon hunter. Well, originally this was like a Wrath of the Lich King talent, I'm pretty sure, and you could transform into some demon, and they've kind of like, it's been all over the place. Then it turned into the demon hunter class, and now it's come back as a resurge in this. It's weird. But essentially, you turn into a big tanky demon that can take a beating. You life steal a lot. You're great for leeching health off enemies. You're going to get a charge, so you can like charge in. You can... They're replacing Shadow Bolt with Shadow Cleave. So you're going to charge in and then spam this like AoE Shadow Cleave on things. And then you'll have like other bits of utility as well when it comes to the tank. Then you've got Destruction, which is big, hard-hitting, like, spells. So you'd be glad to hear that Chaos Bolt is making a return. So you'll be able to get Chaos Bolt, which is just an insane ability. Who doesn't love pressing Chaos Bolt? You've got Haunt, which is the Affliction side. So Destruction is big, hard-hitting spells, whereas Affliction is like damage over time effects. So you'll dot people up with like 5 spells at the start, and then you'll just like drain them of all the life and watch them slowly whittle away. And then you can use like Haunt to like boost that and stuff. So you can get Shadow Bolt Volley. Metamorphosis is going to be insane. And Searing Pain is like a taunt ability now as well. So you'll be able to cast Searing... Well, it was a taunt ability in the past, which was strange. But I think it was to like relieve your pet more than anything. Whether they were planning on doing a Warlock tank back in the day, I'm not sure. But you can... Searing Pain is where you're going to generate threat as well. And then Shadow Bolt turns to Shadow Cleave. Then Curse of Recklessness will also be a taunt as well. So all these tanks are getting a taunt. So for Rogue, it'll be Tease. So it replaces Feint with Tease. And then the same will apply to all the others, just with like their own different thing. So let's finish Warlock. They're going to get Incinerate. Wow. I'm getting more and more sold on the Warlock. Incinerate and Chaos Bolt. Has it got Conflagrate? I'm sold if it's got Conflagrate. Demonic Pact, Demonic Grace, Everlasting Affliction, Soul Siphon, Lake of Fire, Master Channeler, Demonic Tactics. Looks good. All we've got left is the Priest and the Warrior. So the Warlock summon demons as well. So you've got 2 pet classes. You've got the Hunter, which you can tame any pet in the wild, which is really cool. So if you come across a beast and you really like the look of it, you can like tame it and make it your pet, and you can get a few of them. So you can play a little Pokemon minigame as well. Whereas with the Warlock, you go on missions and you like capture demons, and then you summon demons to do your bidding. So you start off with an imp, then you get like a tanky blueberry called a Void Walker, then you can get a Succubus, and you can get Fell Guards. It's really cool. And a Fell Hunter as well, which is like a anti-mage thing. It's like a demon. For the Priest, you've got 2 healing specs with this, and you've also got a shadow spec. So we've got Holy, which is very angelic, big healing spells, very good at healing. You put shields on people, blah, blah, blah. Discipline is a bit more focused on the shield, like stopping people taking damage in the first place. And heals over time. And then you've got Shadow, where you can do a lot of like dot damage, and then some big hard hitters like Mind Blast. You can mind control people. What else can you do on Priest? You can buff people as well. So each class, or most of the classes, get like buffs. So if you're a mage, you can like cast intelligence on people, and that'll like give them more mana and more damage. Or if you're a priest, you can cast Fortitude on people, and that'll give them more health. So it's just really fun. It's really great for the world when 2 travelers and adventurers are just running past each other, and the mage buffs the priest, and the priest buffs the mage. It's just really fun. Hold on, I'm getting wrong. So the spells priest get are Penance, Circle of Healing, Shadow Word Death, Mind Seer, Prayer of Mending, Homunculi. This is really cool. Break off splinters of your soul to animate 3 copies of yourself that attack your target with a mace, sword, and an axe, and it reduces attack speed, attack power, and armor on the target they hit. Really cool. You've got Shared Pain, Power Word Barrier, Twisted Faith, Strength of Soul, Void Plague, Serendipity. Like, priests are looking good. Homunculi is great. Penance is fun. There's a lot of fun spells in the priest tree. And then finally, last but not least, I'm sure, it's the Warrior. That's all we've got left. So with the Warrior, I mean, they get better and better as time goes on, but I'm sure they'll still be really good in the level 25 phase 1 bracket. So you've got 3 specs for this. You've got Fury, which is, well, it feels more one-hand based, but I'm not really a classic WoW player, whereas in retail, you have 2 two-handed weapons, like 1 two-handed weapon in each hand, whereas Arms has always been focused on like being really good with just 1 two-hander, and then Protection is sword and shield, tank and spank type job. Fury, you do a lot of damage, but you're squishier. Arms is like a kind of mix between protection and fury. You do a lot of damage. You have a lot of mobility. You dance a lot. So you have like different stances that you can like dance between. So one is like defensive, one is attack based, one is rage based. So it's fun switching between these different stances if you like that kind of vibe. Some of the spells you get or the abilities / ruins are flagellation, blood frenzy, raging blow, warbringer, furious thunder, consumed by rage, frenzied assault, victory rush, endless rage, devastate, single-minded fury, and quick strike. Quick strike seems insane. So I think that's it. Yeah, I've waffled enough for now. How are you finding the expansions in WoW in general? Are you going to play the Season of Discovery? What classes and alts are you thinking about leveling? Blah, blah, blah. Just leave a like, leave a comment, help the algorithm. Hasta la vista. Peace.